you can live a life in flow where your deepest heart's desires become reality. At Set to Love, we offer strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go. You're done with college. Now what? And maybe you're done because you chose to leave early, and maybe you're done because you graduated. What are you going to do? How are you going to find your career and find your flow within your career? Welcome back to another episode of Set to Love. I'm one of your hosts, Eva Payne, and I'm here with my best friend, Shelley. And today our guest is my daughter, Emmy Payne, who's also our producer. And we wanted to talk to her about flow after college. How do you find your career? She's a great story. So we asked her to come and share it with us today for you, our viewer, so you could get some ideas on what to do after you leave college. So welcome everyone to the show today.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Em.
Morning, Shelley.
Oh,
you're so cute, Emmy. I'm so happy you're here.
You are so cute. I love your hair. You just look adorable as usual.
I'm so grateful.
Fashionista.
Oh, it's so fun. This is actually, you guys, before we dive in and start interviewing Emmy about her life and her advice for young people out there and finding flow in their career, this is our 50th episode of Set to Love. Can you believe it?
No,
50th episode. It's actually only our 5th week live streaming and doing it in this format. So we have 25 episodes of Set to Love, where it's very traditional, iTunes, Spotify, 30 to 45 episodes where we dive into all the same types of topics. And then October 5th is when we started doing the live streams and these sort of smaller burst episodes, Monday through Friday. And so it's our 25th episode of doing that. 5 weeks of doing that. And then we have the 25 episodes before. So yay, happy 50th episode to us. Laying a brick every day, finding our own flow. I love it. So yay, I just wanted to share that with you guys. So Shelley,
yes,
your day's going good so far?
Going good so far, really good. Staying productive, keeping busy with everything, and super grateful for this show. And I do want to share one thing that maybe some people might think as negative to our show, but we got a what would you call that? A negative response?
A hate comment.
A hate comment saying we were too enthusiastic. And I just really want to say to him, thank you so much. I love that kind of hate mail, because I'm not going to be sorry, because this is real. This is who we are. This is how we want to look at life. And I want to thank him for just even those few minutes of his time.
I know. Isn't that great? I just want to say, I love you. I thank you. I think it was Seattle Frank.
Seattle Frank.
I'm always going to remember you as our first official.
It was like our first comment, and it just happened to be like kind of.
You're too enthusiastic, and he didn't spell your right, but that's okay. I'm just pointing it out. You are YOU''RE.
Oh,
okay.
All right. So
Emmy,
Frank, love you. We hope you're listening.
Yes, Seattle Frank, we are very enthusiastic about life. I mean, okay, you have choices. You can be sad and frustrated and annoyed and angry and bitter and jealous, or you can be joyful and happy and enthusiastic and optimistic. And it's really a choice. At the end of the day, it is a choice. You choose what thoughts to keep in. You choose how you respond to those thoughts. and you choose how you respond to life. And so we choose to be enthusiastic.
Yeah.
All right,
And
Emmy, let's dive in.
It was my idea to have you, Emmy, because I want you to know I am one of your biggest fans. I think you are a young person who really does live in flow. You're fortunate enough to have a mother that's giving you some freedom to be really who you are. And it's been beautiful to see it unfold. But my question to you is, let's just start at the point you're in college and you're going along with your day to day. You are adventurous. You do try different things. What gave you the courage to say, you know what? Stop. I want to do something else. That you were brave enough to go to your parents, to move to Arizona, or I don't even know, maybe you were already there, but to really make that huge change. How did you know that this was it? And you're doing so well. So
Okay, well, I was in college. I was a theater major in college, and I was about a year in, and after a year and a few months, I was like, "Oh gosh, I really do hate school." I was never someone that was good at school, that liked school. Like, I hated going to school every day. It was not my favorite thing. I liked the act of being at school, but the thought of like having to go back to my dorm and do more school, like, didn't we were not friends. Me and homework, we're not friends. I'm not good at writing essays. That's just like not my forte. I was not blessed with those strengths. So I knew that I would struggle in college, and I'm sure my parents knew that, oh no, Emmy's gonna have to write college essays all by herself. We can't proofread change them for her. Oh no. So I was a little nervous already, but I was like, it's a theater major. I'll be fine. It'll be fun. And I just happened to have this like drive to just learn anything and everything that I could. And I felt like a sponge for the first year. And I soaked everything up as fast as I could. And I asked all the questions. And I worked more hours like in the theater itself, like in the building, helping with the lights, the sets, the costumes, literally everything that I could get my hands on and help out with, I did. To the point where after a year and a half, I was like, hey, can anyone teach me how to do that? And they were like, oh, we don't know how to do that. I was like, wait a minute. You're joking. Like, this is not real. Like, you actually don't know no? I got to figure it out on my own. I was like, okay. So I called in a few like the higher up, the people at the like recording studio at the college, the people at that like worked the sound at the arena at the college, like the basketball court. And I was like, I need to know how to do this thing, and you might be better at it than we are. We've never had to do it. This is a new thing that one of the directors was like, this is what I want. They wanted like reverb on one of the actors' voice, and that was never something that I was taught, and never something that usually happens in theater. That's more of like a worship arts type of like concert style of managing mics. But that after that, I was like, have I learned everything that I could possibly learn? Like, is that it? Like, I felt like I was getting taught the same things every day, other than like the new play that we were reading in class or learning about ancient Rome. I was like, I do not want to learn about ancient Rome. That is not exciting to me. I just can't do it. I'd rather just be super hands on. I've always felt like a hands on learner. Who knows if I actually am or not, but I'm pretty sure that I am. So I was like, well, here we go. Time to, I'm going to leave after the semester is over. So I was planning on being there for 2 years. And then it just so happened that because I decided that I was going to drop out after a year and some months, then I stopped doing homework. And so then I kind of failed out of college pretty much at a year and a half. And I lost the job that I had at the theater And me and my dad made an agreement that I would pay for like parts of my college with my job. But if I didn't have that job, then I couldn't do that agreement anymore. And so I ended up just dropping out. And I was like, hey, I'm dropping out, Mom. And my mom was like, cool, sounds good. And my dad was like, are you kidding? And I was like, no, I'm not kidding. I'm really serious. Like, I'm really going to do that. And he was like, more power to you, I guess. I could tell he was hesitant, but was just like,
I
she's
think
not
though,
gonna, like,
Emmy, I think
listen.
though your mom said, yeah, that's cool. And I think she really wanted to support you, but I think there was a lot more to it. I think she wanted to know what your plan was, that she would support you if you had a plan. And I think you did have a plan.
I mean, other than I'm gonna go live with my friend who has an apartment down the street and hand out resumes to random theaters, that was the extent of the plan. That, and I currently was working at a theater outside of school, and so I knew I could get a job. It wouldn't be like I wasn't experienced enough to actually get a job, like a real person job. So I
So,
was already working someplace.
Emmy, how long did it take you from the time that you decided, like, okay, there's all this resistance at school, it's not working out for all these different reasons, whether it's financial reasons, you weren't learning anything, the theater couldn't keep you on in that job anymore. It was like all the doors were closing in front of you and in different ways, but it was like a lot. It was just the universe was obviously telling you, you don't need to be here anymore. So you move out. I mean, let's go back. It's January 2019 because this just happened.
2020.
That's what I mean, 2020. January 2020, you decide, okay, well, I want to live in the theater world. This is what I want to do. So how long from when you left school to when you started passing out your resumes and you found the job? Tell us about that.
A day.
A day.
Everything
A
was
day.
closing, and it was so obvious to me that I wasn't meant to be there anymore, and there was no reason for me to be there. It took me like 3 days to like say my goodbyes, pack up, move into the other apartment. But the second that I was out of GCU and moved into the new apartment, I was like, here we go. It's time to go to FedEx and print out some resumes. I was like, I have 3 resumes. I have a work resume, I have a stage manager resume, I have a technical theater resume. Technically, I have 4 because I also have an acting resume. But I didn't give people my acting resume because that's not really my forte. It's more just something I do for fun. So first thing I did, I was in Gilbert all the way down. So if like this is Phoenix, this is GCU, and this is Gilbert. So I started all the way down here and I made a list of every single theater and in what order I should go to them to get from the furthest point all the way back home. So I was just driving along. That was the plan. What actually happened was I went to like a big like professional theater, handed them my resume. The person at the box office said, thank you so much. I was so scared. It was the scariest thing I've ever done. And then I walked into a youth theater just up the road and I said, here's my resume. Hi, I'm Emmy. And they said, do you want to meet the boss? I was like, yeah, sure. In my brain, I was like screaming a little bit because I was like, wait, I wasn't really prepared for this. I was really just prepared to hand people my resume and send some emails back and forth. That was my goal. And so I just walked right on by there. And then I was sitting in this like small room with 3 people that I had never met before. And this lady is just sitting there reading my resume, and I'm talking to the other 2 people who are in the room. I still don't really know who the boss is at this point. I know it's not the one kid who took my resume, but out of the other 2 people, I really didn't know. So I was just talking to the one man sitting in the room while the woman was looking at my resume, and then she ended up passing my resume to the man, and then I looked at the woman, started talking to her, and after like maybe 10 minutes of talking, she just starts crying. And I was like, oh, this is weird. Okay, ha ha ha. Don't cry. It's okay. But everyone was like, why are you crying? They were confused too, which was good that they were also confused. And she was like, was just telling Bailey, who had my job before, that we needed to put out a flyer today for this position because Bailey was stepping down because he wanted to focus on his acting career. So it was literally like the day before she told him to make a flyer and put it up on Tuesday. That Tuesday, I walked into the building and handed my resume in. So it was like they never even had to make a flyer because there I was. I just walked in. And she was like crying because she couldn't believe like how synchronistic her life and that transition. It couldn't have been any easier, I think. That like flowed just completely perfectly with their lives and with my life, and everything synced up, which was awesome. And then craziness ensued, and she offered me a full-time job right on the spot.
I love it. I love, Emmy, that you just followed your passion. You followed your career, and synchronicities met you and met them, and needs were filled. And even through crazy coronavirus, you were able to move up in the positions. You're now the interim director, the operations manager. You're pretty much running this youth nonprofit theater in Arizona. And you could still be in school really doing nothing because yes, they're doing some plays with masks on and stuff, but truly, if you already felt like you had kind of reached your limit and the ceiling of what the school could offer, you would have really felt that way over the rest of 2020. And instead, you were faced with real world challenges with a real nonprofit, and you've grown and learned so much over the last almost year. So I'm super proud of you. And I just want people to be able to hear how when you follow your deepest heart's desires, you will find your flow. It reminds me, I was listening yesterday and I love that. Of course, synchronistically, we're talking about this today. I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, which he released yesterday, November 5th. It's episode 1559. And about 50 minutes in, he's talking to this guy, Steven Ranella, I think is his name. And he was talking about how he started his podcast and everyone was telling him it's not going to work and no one wanted to get involved. And like his agents were like, you go do that thing and whatever. And he said how he always just did it because he loved it. It's just him and his producer, Jamie, and whoever his guest or guests are, and some security guards outside. And he's always stayed true to himself. He just, I do what I love. I just do what I love. And it just works out. I'm authentic, I'm real, and I do what I love. And I really believe that's the message for everyone out there. When you leave college, and let's back up it. I mean, even going into college, because you sent me that text message the beginning of your freshman year saying, thanks for letting me pick my major. So it's like, which baffled me because I thought, well, it is your life. Shouldn't you be allowed to choose your major? But you were saying that there's parents who told their kids they couldn't even choose their major. So if you're not even allowed to choose your major, and now you're leaving college with a whole bunch of knowledge and stuff that you really don't care that much about, you're going to just look for whatever job to pay whatever bills, to pay back whatever loans, or to pay your rent or whatever. And it's like you're missing the opportunity and you're missing what could be possible for you. So I love that. I wanted to share that about Joe Rogan. And then Shelley, that painting video that I sent you yesterday. And did you watch it about So Shelley, do you want to tell the viewers about that? It's called Only Human. It's got like 7 million views. If you look it up and on YouTube, Only Human, it's this 12-year-old who's a painter. Well, she started like just drawing and painting at like 4 and 5. And she's pretty much homeschooled and she just paints 12 hours a day. It's crazy. She's crazy, crazy good. And out of everything in this interview, the parents said they don't make her learn math because she doesn't care about math. She cares about painting and she's so good at it. And they let her just be in her flow and utilize her skills and her interests and her strengths to produce something beautiful for the world. And I feel like that is what living in flow is all about for each and every one of us.
I would say the thing that when I think of what I would want for my girls is exactly what Emmy has, and that is that she's really, really happy. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have challenges and a lot of work ahead of her, and that she doesn't have to work hard and everything just comes so easy. But the point of this whole thing, and that's why I thought it was so important to talk to her, is that she followed her whole heart, like her passion for what she wants in life. It might not be as easy for some others, where a door might not open so quickly, but that doesn't mean give up. That means keep going forward. And I want to encourage parents to, look at what your child it really excels at, and where is their happy place.
Yes.
Because sometimes I think that's why, you see people just not involved in their own life, and they're just basically going on day to day, and they do the things that they do, but they're not happy. I mean, I think of my career as an esthetician. I love, love, love what I do. It doesn't change 27 years later. I don't mind doing what I do because it's really in me to want to help people, to teach them things that they may not know about their skin, or even just share with them our personal lives. And that has never changed. So I am sure that what Emmy is doing, whether she goes into have her own place, a school for young people to teach what wasn't there for her. I mean, sky's the limit for her of what she can do, but it will basically be what she's doing now that can evolve into many things, but she'll be happy. And what is it that we want in life is to really be happy. We work how much of a percentage of our life? And that's like flow. If you could have 51% of your life to be in a happy place, and if you start with your job, thank you, God. So that's where, I mean, it's even like you're talking with this young 12-year-old girl. She's taken what she's done, and they've bought this big house, and over the years, I think she doesn't sell her originals very often, but she has sold a few of her originals, and I think one of them was how much? Like
it was like 175,000 or something. But
like crazy amounts of money. And for her, like she said, she doesn't paint it's not, well, okay, I'm going to put in 12 hours. She will put in 15 hours. It doesn't matter. It's when everything is going, because she's very spiritually led. So for her, which is not the norm, I don't think, it's a beautiful gift that she has. So it's just super inspiring.
But I do think it's like flow. When you're in your thing and you're creating your thing, like when Emmy is working with those kids in the theater, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Emmy, but when you're, doing your hip hop class or running Les Mis or doing whatever, it really is like you're co-creating with something else, like outside of you. You really just do feel super connected to your purpose and meaning, and it's like you can just get into it, and then afterwards you step back and you're so proud of what it is you were able to offer or create or need you were able to fill. Wouldn't you say that, Emmy, with the work that you're doing, like you do feel really fulfilled in it?
Yeah, so I never taught a hip hop class until I got here, but I found that musical theater is going towards hip hop style dancing, and so I knew we needed it as one of our courses that we taught. And so I was like, I can teach hip hop. I know how to do hip hop. I kind of taught hip hop to cheerleaders, so that's a different style. But my first official day of class, where I had to come up with my own dance for the class, I was like, and then I taught something and I really don't even know what it was, but I took a video of it and I was like, did I really just do that? Did I just do that? Is that real? Was I in that room? I was like, that wasn't me, but I'm really glad that my body did that, because I who knows where that came from. I didn't know I could do that.
It's so great. I love it.
It's just, you're in your flow. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And sometimes it does feel surreal. It's like us finishing 5 weeks of doing this podcast, 5 weeks, Monday through Friday, showing up here. I feel like I blinked. It doesn't feel like work. I don't wake up going, Okay, another day. Here we go. And when it starts to feel like that, when it starts to feel like, oh God, another day, here we go. That's when you know something has to switch, something has to change. You have to adapt. You need to massage it a little bit or look at something different, because that's not how life is supposed to feel. Maybe every once in a while, like, oh, I have a really busy day today, so today it might feel that way. But if you're 2-3 years into doing something and it feels like, oh, here I go, it's time to do something different. And don't let yourself even get there. If you start someplace and you realize, no, I mean, think about how many times we've even tweaked just the show or little projects that you've worked on in your life or the way that you do things. So being open to just sort of maneuvering. And like you said, Emmy, hip hop is a way that maybe is going to be more into theater. So now you're like incorporating that a little bit more. So being open to saying like, okay, well, what does the future look like? What is we're locked in. We can't, Shelley and I can't sit together and do this how maybe like in my mind, I would think the perfect way to do it would be like a little talk show of us sitting together with microphones and one camera and one screen. But this is what we got. And so you make the best of what you have and you learn and grow through it. And that's how you find your flow, but always staying true to who you are. That's the one thing that Joe kept saying, Joe Rogan, as if we're on first name basis, kept saying over and over, like, I do what I love. I do what I love. I make time for the things I love. And that's why his show is so successful. He's just being himself. And when you can really bring yourself to the table, whatever that is, Emmy is theater, everything, her music in her car, always theater. It's like musical theater. It is in her soul. It is who she is. It is the place that she needs to be. Where in musical theater? I don't know. She could be on Broadway. She could go to Las Vegas and run a show there. She could stay in Arizona. She starting her own nonprofit. Why are you shaking your head? No.
I learned because of COVID, I learned something. I could
Yes.
never be anything on Broadway or do a show for longer than 2 months. I can't do it. My body won't. I was so over the shows. I'm still so over the shows that we stopped during COVID and we're kind of rehearsing.
So you got bored. So you're saying you got bored with doing, because you started Les Mis in January, February, March, whenever, and you just finished the show like 2 weeks ago. So it was a very long, drawn out process because of COVID.
I could never.
Okay, so now you know that you're someone who needs things to be changing. You don't want things to be static and the same. You don't want to just go and work on Clueless for 5 years. That would not make you happy, stage managing the same show for 5 years. So that's also part of it. You realize, as much as you realize what you do want, you realize what you don't want. So I think that's an important message also for the viewers today.
Me too. We're so proud of you, Emmy.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming and sharing your story. And I just want to let anyone out there know, if you feel like college is not your thing, that's okay. If parents out there feel like their kids have to go to school, they don't. My daughter, this way, is proof that you can live a happy life. You can pay your own bills. You can be a functioning adult at 20 years old in the world doing what you love by following your heart. It is possible for each and every single person out there. And it just takes courage. It takes stepping through your fears. And we've talked so much about that on this show. It takes stepping past the chaos that's happening in life, finding that thing that you really want to do, and then just going after it. The second theater Emmy walked into, they offered her a full-time job days after quitting college. It's synchronistic. It is where you're meant to be. And when you follow your deep heart's desires, synchronicities will happen. And that is living in flow. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is great. I hope everybody enjoyed today. Take what you want, ditch the rest. It's okay.
Absolutely.
But just try to live open. Take some of this advice, see what works. And I think we're all better for that.
And I want everyone to have a fantastic weekend. If you go, put it up. There we go. So if you're listening to us on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, we would love it if you would share this content, subscribe to our channel, like the video. If you're listening on podcast streaming services, we're so grateful for you. If you don't know that these are out there, you can go back and listen to all 50 episodes on Spotify or Google Play or Apple iTunes. And you can also send us messages at settolovepodcast@gmail.com if you want to write to us. Let us know how we can help you find flow in your life. We appreciate you. We are here Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on YouTube and in Facebook, and always recorded and available on your favorite podcast streaming service. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend.